of the Maturity Project, and I am the host and a founder creator of the Maturity Project. Today, it's our chat over Broshears, by the way, or chat over Broshears, whichever way you want to go about it. But regardless, today I'm really just decided that it's just, like you can always make a choice about, like, it's time to do whatever it is that you want to do. Most people focus on this macro action, like it's time to become wealthy, it's time to become famous, it's time to become whatever, and they grab a hold of the big idea about what they want to accomplish, but they don't look at the steps necessary to become successful, or they look at it at a glance and say, okay, well, this is what's necessary to be successful. I could do all of these things, X, Y, and Z, without realizing that that's still an overhead and like an overview of success. You still have to get deeper. But the thing is like, what's great about it is once you start an action, things start to unfold. Keep doing it, just keep going. That's why persistence and consistency is so important. Areas that I have been weaker in my life, and this is a focal point for me now, is, and it has been, but it hasn't been, right? Like I've been attached to other things. Some of that is just being validated for the effort, not necessarily being told, hey, Chad, you're amazing, but just, this made a difference for me. This really made me see things differently, and now I have some other opportunity, some other option in life that I can now do something with what I've learned from you. So that validation kept me, it keeps me excited. And I had been receiving it, but I wasn't qualifying it the way that would have done the best justice for the person sharing it, and also the best justice for myself and how I've been experienced. So, the steps necessary to become successful. Again, you do have to keep consistency. Also, don't worry so much about being perfect. Don't worry so much about the concepts of perfection and what you're working on. Consider that everything takes time, and if you're measuring your success based off of somebody else who is an expert at what you're wanting to do or what you can do or what you are doing, that person can easily lead you into defeat simply because you see a highly polished version of what you're doing, and it makes you feel like, well, somebody else is already doing this, so therefore why should I do this? Somebody else has already got this. Well, here's the thing. No matter who you are, not everyone will accept you. Which is actually a good thing in the way that, that's the same for everybody. It might be just the way that you speak and the nuances of how you behave that actually get people very interested in what you have to say. And or the timeline that you were introduced to them was with no resistance associated with what you're offering that the other person's offering, but perhaps their model, because they be so much further down the pipeline of success, is too polished for the person that's witnessing it. And being too polished or too professional could immediately make people disqualify the opportunity for various reasons, such as, if it's this polished and this professional, it's probably out of my budget. Or if it looks this good and it's not out of my budget, it's probably not a good product. It's just a really well-marketed product. It could be things like that as well that the person thinks of. But the point of it is not to get too far into the minutia of it, to the absolute potential of what has somebody want your product over another. It is to be with the understanding that people will just find you more appealing than others for various reasons. Sometimes they cannot explain or describe the reasons. You may be close enough to the stature that they are, therefore they see that you be closer to a crystal ball, a genuine and earnest effort, the potential of long-term, like some sort of bond or friendship that can come out of it, whatever. There's a lot of things that people create to want to make connection with people that teach or educate. or that are out making differences. There's all kinds of things that get people to like you. So don't worry if somebody else is really far ahead, right? Like, so what I do and what I teach is transformational education. It's a developmental direction about considering all aspects of our ability to mature and to be able to allocate effort and resources overall to those areas to develop them so that you are not left struggling or challenged with whatever it is that you have had problems with in the past. So these 8 different areas that I teach about is the way that I've packaged the experience of living, and the opportunity that experience of living can do something different or develop somebody or support somebody in the endeavors of their living. So you don't need to be Harvard to teach. You don't need to be Tony Robbins to be successful in transformational education. And there's many people in that category, but there's reasons why there's many people in that category. If you do what you love, it won't feel like as much work as doing something that you have resistance towards or you don't love. So just grab the bat and start swinging. So the time is now. But look at it this way. You can say, okay, Tony Robbins is my target. Like, for me, building what I do, I have avatars that I pull from that help me understand that this is a model of success that I can learn from. I am not copying somebody else's success model to be them. I don't want to be a copycat. That's not my direction or my intention. I'm teaching and working with something that all of us have and have had available to us our entire life. And then throughout our entire existence as a species, we've always had these accesses. It's just who wants to put in the work to gain access to it. And the experience of success, well, success itself is an access. It's an access of multiple actions consistently put forward and the ability to adapt that has a person arrive at something. You looking at somebody else's success is their journey. You may be qualifying that that's the end of the journey, that they don't have to do anymore, or whatever. Nearly every person that I can't think of anybody that I've actually spoke to that is successful or that I've studied that is successful, that they feel that where they currently are is the end of the journey. None of them are sitting on the king's throne and not caring anything about what the king or what anyone else has to do and not worried about anything else. They're just sitting there fat and happy and enjoying the experience of living and breathing. That's not the state that they're in. This is also why people are like, why is it that the ultra wealthy just keep doing things to make more money? It's not about money. Money is a qualifier to their effort. And they've learned something and developed a skill set that is successful. Now, you do have the opportunity for agendas to get involved that exceed the pure pleasure of developing yourself and to be able to execute on that development and create something like, a Fortune 500 company or whatever. There could be corruption, and obviously that happens, and that has to do with things that I don't want to see created more into this world. I want to see less of it. The best way to reduce corruption in this world is to develop people in a way that they can identify that stuff and they stop participating without their awareness or their consent. Kind of without their consent. If you don't know that it's an option, then it's not really against your consent necessarily. It's just, you don't know. You're ignorantly doing something. I cringe at the term useful idiot whenever it's used from corrupt people. That aggravates me so incredibly deeply because what they're doing is they've turned people into puppets, and that's one of my reasons for this channel is to help people develop so they're not used in somebody else's vice-driven efforts. Now, you can go through somebody's vice-driven efforts and it changes you in a way that you're actually closer to becoming successful in whatever path or goals that you have in life. You can have that experience. That happens, and it has happened. It's happened many times to me. It's actually where I typically reinvent myself, or I reinvent some specific aspect about me that had me get to that point to be used by another. But I don't hold and harbor this negative where it's against that person as much as it is about the traits and values that they have that had caused those challenges in my life. So when I say the time is now, it doesn't matter if you've been beat up by somebody else in your life, that somebody else has taken advantage of you. It does not have to even mean anything as far as, that you just don't know what it takes to be successful, and then you just quit, don't do that. You know, it means action. Just keep taking action. Even if you don't know clearly what to do next, always be doing something. That's actually a military motto that I learned from my last psych professor. God, I love that guy, Kelvin. So always be doing something. Well, what's the benefit of always being doing something? Well, the benefit is that you'll see things you did not see when you're not doing something. You know, a basketball game is drastically different for the person that is playing the game than the person that's watching the game be played. They look the same. The person that's sitting in the seats, they're the ones that are like, yeah, I get it, oh yeah, and all that. But their reality is that if you're playing, their reality is that they have an opportunity to live vicariously through you, but they will never know the real depth of playing the game. The ankles, the pressure, the fatigue, the experience of, I just shot a goal, I shot a basket that I really didn't think I was going to make it. It just seemed a little outside of my comfort zone for where I have a higher likelihood of making it, and I just shot outside of that comfort zone and I made it. They won't know those things. All they get is the excitement of, yes, that's another goal, yes, the points are going up. That's it. Really, they can have a little bit more, perhaps if they've played the game. It is still very hard to understand the totality of what the person that's playing the game is going through when you're watching from the stands. So short is, do something. When it comes to, like, let's use dieting and weight loss as an example of practicing. You could have tried many times, many different things. The beautiful thing about the human body is it's so diversified. It has so many different variables that can be addressed. Just because you've tried a diet in the past does not mean that exercise and dieting doesn't work. It just means you've tried something that was ineffective for you. If you don't look at the details about why it was ineffective, then you're likely just going to try another process under the same structure, or the same strategy, actually, not structure, but the same strategy, which is, I'm excited about losing weight. I'm motivated because I don't like the way that I look, feel, or move, or the way that I am treated because of the way I look, feel, or move. So I want different in my life. And then you see the effort to go after that is, okay, well, I'm going to lose weight because I'm going to take carbs out of my diet, and whatever the fad is. Fads are incredibly popular amongst people that are not that good at what they're accomplishing. They're trying different things out. Now, that's not a negative against somebody. They're trying different things. The problem is whenever you do that from a macro or superficial level, you're not really getting into the details to find out any other variables about how that be successful. I am educated in a holistic way. I spent time in a physical therapy office as a corrective exercise specialist. I have gone through a ridiculous amount of nutritional education, and the variable differences in human beings that cause our bodies to behave the way that they do. And when you look at it holistically, it starts making a lot of sense, and then you start seeing the different dials that you can turn in order to be successful and see the results that people keep promising you that are available. If people have made an earnest, if they've truly and honestly shared with you their process, when they're losing weight, and there's always the opportunity that the variables necessary to be successful in losing weight have been satisfied to a high level of percentage necessary to see change, without the awareness that they did it to the depth necessary to fully validate it. But they know that they've been going to bed a little bit earlier. Water's important, so they drink more. They don't necessarily understand the quantity necessary on an individual basis. They know that they do need to go to bed at a certain time, but they're not going to sleep based off their circadian rhythm. They're just going to sleep based off of their sensation of return off of their effort of sleep and the effort to go to bed on time, things like that. So it's not the details that actually have the scientific parameters that are adjustable. they had just gotten used to specific behaviors that put them in a higher percentage of change. By the way, you can see change at 80%, 70%, 60%. You can see change. It depends on what level of change you expect to see. And then that creates the validation of the effort that could either inflate or deflate you based off of the return of what your expectations are. So if you're at a 60% value for change, or the necessary actions for change is 60% of what's necessary, you'll see change. You'll see weight loss. There's a higher potential that you won't stick to it because it's the effort that you're putting in and the rest of your life and how that affects you has you more likely to say, I look good for a bit, but then I got into the relationship that I wanted to be in, and now I'm good. I don't need to continue. I'm happy now. So that's possible, absolutely possible, and it happens often actually, because of the effort it takes to get to be successful. Now, if you do 70%, you see better change. If you do 90%, and you work on the structures and strategies necessary to make that 90% a lifestyle, you will likely never gain weight again, barring accidents that could cause that, or a health issue that could cause the weight gain and the atrophy of the muscle. Those things, that happens too, but it's less likely based off of the actual percentages of people that do that or have those things happen to them. So, with that being said, the best thing to do is just take action now and not be attached to tomorrow being significantly different than today. The big differences can be the shifts of mindset, and then you just work on holding and maintaining that, giving yourself the permission and privilege to slipping back or going into other frames of thinking is perfectly fine. The best way to keep this up for a lot of people in the beginning when they want change is to put reminders to go back to the frame of thinking necessary to create a new habit. Because new habits don't just happen. You use frame of thinking in order to get there. So again, it's time now. Just take action on it. I have been kicking around for a long time, turning this into a commodity, making my education that I offer into something that you could get into, that you could buy. You can get into purchasing your way into the next developmental level. And when I say that, I mean that as when you give something away for free, people give it less value. When you have to pay for something, you are more likely to take what you're learning as something of higher value, which can elicit change. There's free diet advice all over the place. You can go on Wikipedia. You can educate yourself as much as you want. People can give you books when somebody else paid for that knowledge in that situation. But it could still be free. And the likelihood that you're going to do much with it and make a lifestyle that sticks is really low. And it's not a challenge that I have against you as a person. It's just the way that we work in psychological elements and values that we have. So if you want to see change, put effort into it. Put something on the line. So for me, I've been resistant against it because of various reasons. A lot of it just comes down to, is my education valuable enough to offer like that? And I can tell you now from the people that I've spoke to, from just speaking to strangers to people that I know very, very well and for a very long time. Go do it, Chad. You need to do this. You need to share this gift. So the time is now. You can help anybody that is at especially as you understand the 8 areas of maturity, you can help anybody at any point in time in their life. You just have to know where you're capable of guiding them. You can be sitting down with a NASA scientist, aeronautics, and whatever, that doesn't mean that they're mature through every aspect of life. But if you're really mesmerized by the level of knowledge that they have in space travel or aeronautics, you're likely not to consider that you have a depth of knowledge that person can benefit from, or a depth of experience that person can benefit from, because you're really focused on how incredibly developed they are in one area. You meet a celebrity. You have value for the celebrity, not just that somebody can watch their movie, but there is a guarantee, I have a guarantee for you, that you will have parts of your life that person will greatly benefit from by knowing and experiencing. But if you don't, and you're stuck on, if you don't share that or express it, and you're stuck on the idea that they're a celebrity and they're whoever that celebrity be, You are going to be sitting in a reality that is dwarfed by everything else is dwarfed by their stardom to you, because you can't get past what you see, and you can't change your vantage point to realize your own value in that situation. So it's fine to express that. It's fine to be in that space, but just know that you're stopping your thinking process and your opportunities based off of the way that you're now behaving. And just as a little tidbit also, because I do know celebrities as well, if you behave that way, you're very unlikely to be noteworthy or monumental to them. And it's not that they have anything against you, it's just part of the norm. It's part of the regular that they get to experience. They're not experiencing anything unique when you behave that way. They get validation, but there's a point in time whenever that validation of their stardom really isn't as rewarding as it was in the beginning, or how you would envision that it is, because you haven't experienced it yourself. It's just they've burnt out on it, to a degree. But be somebody different. That will make them know you or care to know you. If that be an interest of yours, is that they care to know you. Just be open to it. This is a fantastic thing about it. I was speaking with the owners of the company I'm working with now, and I said, why don't we create this new program that can support people that go into, taking part of one of our products that we're now offering, a new product that we're offering. Why not create this other thing? And it's like, what came to mind is, the first thing is, well, it could be a pretty challenging thing to do. Does it line up with what our company actually is intending to accomplish, so that you're not going too far off of the mark and getting away from the necessary information that we need to continuously stick to, which is our brand, our products. Does it deviate too far away from that? And this particular idea does not. Then there is the validation of somebody else somewhere out there has created this. So for those that are out there that know a bit more, or I'll share it so it's less vague and gives it more root value, is the company I'm with. We are we have a rental line that our customers can rent a piece of equipment. Well, creating a insurance policy for that, an in-house insurance policy, is incredibly beneficial. It is another revenue opportunity, and it can reduce the costs of repairs whenever this equipment is damaged, because we've already built a budget that supports those repairs, so that the person that's renting it is covered with more peace of mind. We don't have that. And our particular industry has a lot of immature areas or not so developed areas. So the first thing that came to mind is somebody else has done this. Somebody else has created insurance. If you think about it all the way back to the beginning, somewhere at some point in time, somebody goes, I bet if we offer a insurance and we're insuring that this thing be kept in a particular condition, that we can make this a profitable movement. We can make this if you pay this much and everybody pays this much, that will build a budget. What's the potential of, what's the risk of these things being damaged, so that the payout is something that is, you pay less out in repairs because of the total of people that are using that insurance coverage. Well, now it becomes profitable, and anything that does get damaged, the damage will exceed what the person pays, almost guaranteed. If they pay $50 for the policy, but the repairs of that unit is $2,000, that is under the covered area. It's also why you have coverages, and then what is covered, what isn't. That's how they make it profitable. So if the damages are at $2,000, but the person paid $50, well, then it's, you just have to have so many people that have paid the $50 in order to cover it. So, it's pretty much, it's simplistic math in how you create that kind of policy to be successful. Is what's the likelihood that they're going to get damaged equipment up to $2,000 in damage? It won't happen as frequently. That's how they created these things into making them profitable. So somewhere somebody said this, and it was a completely new concept. Nobody knew anything about insurance. Somebody had to create it. And my point is, somebody created it. Now it's a matter of, what do we know? What resources do we need to have? What do we need to learn? And then create that thing as an option. It's simplistic. It's just, what do we know? Same thing goes for any aspect of your life. What is it that you know about what you want to change, that you want to achieve? And then what do you know that you don't know? What resources do you have that you know you need? And what resources do you need to get that you know you need to get? And what resources do you have any, like, you know that you don't know enough about having it? And then there's the whole world of the things you don't know. And you start learning those things when you step out of what you know. It sounds like a play on words, but there's a process to understanding that, and I hope to express that over time, but not for this particular video. It's going a little long at this point. Point of it is just to get back to it, is that it's time. Just do something now. A little bit every day changes the world. 1% on a daily basis is an entirely different world to you in a year. 1% every day. That's a pretty big change over time. And you do better taking it that way, or doing it that way, because the benefits of taking your time and doing 1% better every day, or 1% closer to your goal every day, trying things out by 1% every day, well, that also gives you the opportunity to experience where you're not as structured to be successful, and then that gives you the opportunity to put that 1% effort into that particular area on a daily basis until it becomes stable and structured enough to support the thing that you were doing that got you to the point of realizing that you had something else to work on. So you go back to the other thing that you were working on at 1% every day, and now you'll find another area as you continue on of what is not structured well enough yet, and then you can shift that 1% from that main direction and back, and now you can put it onto that structural piece necessary to be successful, and keep doing that. If it seems overwhelming, well, what's great and it reduces it being overwhelming is journal it. Write it out. This is what I've been doing today, and the next every day that you have particular effort into this, keep putting it onto the paper. Put it into a journal. It'll really surprise you by how far you go if you genuinely put that effort in on a daily basis. So the time is now. Let's do it. So speaking of the time is now, I like this channel, like this video, subscribe to it, set the bell notification so you know whenever I'm going live or new videos come up, so you can be one of the first people to watch it. Take action. I'm taking action. I will create some opportunities for you to be able to buy modules or programs from me that'll help you put effort into changing, that's in a structured and strategized way that can make big differences for you in your life. Keep an eye out for that. That will be coming soon. Another action that you can take to really just make now the time, share this video with somebody in your life that you really want to start a conversation with, or shift the conversation so that you can see more change in life. Make the video the subject to breach that conversation. Turn it into the next step. Even if it is talking about how I go on tangents, or I may use something out of context, or the way that I look, or the fact that I'm recording while I'm driving, or whatever the hell it is that has that point of constant focus, so that you can do more with this opportunity. You can do more with life. It's yours. Use this to break the ice with these people in your life that you want to make these changes with, and then tell them to know, or to like the channel and subscribe, and share it with other people in their life. It's what it takes to start a movement is one person. That's it. Just the awareness that something can change. Now, a movement doesn't need to be activism or anything like that, because that has gotten incredibly out of fashion in my world. It's actually one of the fastest ways to make me really not want to be a part of something is add activism to it. I'm not very interested, because I prefer unique values. I prefer life being under my terms and not mob mentalities. Not a big fan of that stuff. I prefer the individualism and the uniqueness that each one of us bring out. So let's work on that. We got a world to change, but we really need to work on us first. That makes you more powerful. All right, till next time, I am Sir Chad Everett Broshears to some, Chad Everett Broshears to others. Oh, this is the maturity project, and this is its time. Let's do it. All right. Till next time, let's have a fantastic day. Let's create something amazing. All right. Catch you next time. See ya.